I hate networking. I'm a shy introvert with social anxiety, which means going to a networking event and making small talk with strangers is about as comfortable for me as it would be to lie down on a bed of rusty nails while being stared down by an angry squirrel. Side note, I'm petrified of squirrels. That said, networking has obvious benefits, and it's always been a key part of my job, so I've always sucked it up and done it. But then I realized being a quiet networker is a superpower. I'm preparing to go to an in-person event where I'm actually speaking, and you are coming along with me, bestie, to see all the advantages you have as an introvert at a networking event. And I'll be spilling my secrets to make you a better introverted networker along the way. One of the most powerful strategies I use is something you could do weeks, even months before the event. And you can do it all from your phone. Conferences and events these days have an app, and that app includes useful information like the agenda and maps to find the place. But also you can typically find a list of attendees and even messaging boards before the event kicks off. For example, I'm heading to the Women in Tech Summit in Philadelphia, and they're using Whova. And no, this video is not sponsored. I've actually used this app for multiple conferences that I've been at, and I love it because I can scroll through the attendees list, see if I know anyone who's going to be there. Otherwise, I can see if anyone is going to be there from companies that I'm really interested in working with, people that do something along the same lines as what I do. Now from there, I'll confess, I do a light stalking. Not the super creepy type of stalking where you're 10 years deep into their Instagram profile, but I'll go and lurk their LinkedIn profile and any sites that they have linked. And if it's someone I think I'm really gonna vibe with and I wanna make sure I meet at the event, I'll even send them a connection request before we get there to introduce myself. Now I gotta pack and get to Philadelphia for the event. It's now the day of the event, and there's something I actually had to think about before I left since I'm traveling for this one. And this is the tip that is going to make people walk up and talk to you, which makes things so much easier and less stressful for you at the networking event. Best of all, it's something that you're going to do anyway, so doing it strategically is going to help you network. What's one thing you can't leave your house without doing? And no, it's not checking to make sure you have your phone, though that's very helpful as well. It's getting dressed. But when you're going to a networking event, don't just throw on any old thing. Find at least one item that you can wear that is going to start conversations. So for this event, I chose a color and I am sticking with it. And today's fit includes hot pink pants. What starts conversation better than hot pink pants? I don't know. There's one thing I do before any event that I go to, and it has been an absolute game changer, especially if I'm not in a people-y mood when I'm heading to the event. Like this morning I woke up with a migraine. Not really a day I want to go and interact with a bunch of humans, but this is how I'm going to power through it. I've always admired the people that can walk into any room and talk to pretty much everyone in it. Like I'm literally in awe of those people. I am not one of them. And if I, as a shy introvert, tried to be that social butterfly, I would absolutely decimate my social battery and end up in the closet with a bottle of vodka later on. Not an ideal situation. And that's why I never go to any event with the intention of talking to everyone in the room. I don't even try to talk to half the people in the room. Instead, before I go to the event, I set a realistic goal. A few years ago, I was dragging myself to an event and I did this. I set a goal of talking to at least 5 people. And once I talked to 5 people, I was allowed to leave if I wasn't vibing with the event. And it absolutely shifted my experience from hiding in the corner with my glass of wine, trying to muster up the courage to talk to someone, to saying, hey, if I get to know 5 people today, then I get to go home to my couch. The thing is, when I talked to those 5 people, the event was nowhere near over. And I found that I kind of got into the groove of it. I was even having a little bit of fun. So it became something that I do for every networking event that I attend. Today, my goal is to talk to at least 1 person that's sitting close to me at any session that I attend, 5 people over lunch, and 10 people at the networking event at the end of the day. I'll let you know if I meet those goals or not. Now, there's one more thing I need to talk to you about before I head over to the event, because before I can even walk out that door, I need to give myself a pep talk. And maybe you need it too. When I'm at the event, my social anxiety, who I call Nancy, is going to talk all sorts of shit. Here's something that I came to discover about networking events by talking to introverts and extroverts alike. It's weird for everyone. Remember that when you're meeting someone, they're probably way more concerned about how they're coming across than how you're coming across. Plus, if you feel weird like you're going to be interrupting someone or bothering someone, why are people going to networking events in the first place? To meet new people. So if you muster up the courage to walk up to a new person and introduce yourself and ask them their name, you're doing them a huge solid, because they might be me, who's standing there hoping that someone is going to come up to them because, oh my gosh, the anxiety of walking up to someone else is massive. And if they weren't there to meet someone, they wouldn't be there. They would be at home with their Netflix eating cupcakes on the couch. So whether you're shy or outgoing, introverted or extroverted, have social anxiety or you don't, remember, we're all in this together. Now, let's go. I was hoping to be able to give you guys some advice while I was at the conference on how to actually network at the conference, but it didn't really have a space where I could film, where I could leave people out, because I don't want to film anyone without their consent. So it is the day after the event right now, and I want to tell you things that I did in order to network. And the first one is so simple. It is so basic. You are absolutely going to roll your eyes. But most people at a networking event are doing the exact opposite of this. When you're feeling awkward, you don't know anyone, you don't know how to approach anyone, you probably do something like this. Because of course you're not talking to anyone if you're on your phone. You're so busy doing important things. But the thing is when you're buried in your phone, people think you're busy and you don't want to talk, and no one is going to approach you. So keep it basic. Put your phone away, make eye contact with people, and smile. The next thing that makes networking much easier is finding other people who are solo like you. So yesterday at the event, I was finding other attendees when I was walking to a session or sitting down at a table for lunch that were sitting by themselves. Because I knew they were in the same boat as me, not knowing anyone and probably looking forward to making a new friend. Which brings me to the next strategy, and this one is one of my favorites because it does end up playing to your strengths as an introvert. But before I tell you what it is, close your eyes with me just for a moment and imagine this. Walk up to a group of people you don't know that are engaged in a lively conversation, and you walk up and you join in. Okay, maybe don't imagine that, because that's something that not even my imagination can handle. I would rather book back-to-back dentist appointments for root canals than do that. So here's what I do instead. I find other people that are at the event that are by themselves. Whether it's at the happy hour, standing by themselves, looking around trying to find someone, or walking into a session if they're sitting at the table or sitting in a chair by themselves, I'll just go and say, hey, is this seat taken? And they'll probably welcome making a new friend, just like how I'm welcoming making a new friend. My favorite thing about this is, at least initially, it does put you into your strength of having a one-on-one conversation. If you're like me and you don't know when your turn to talk in a group is, this makes networking and having conversations with new people much, much easier. Now, when you are an introvert and someone does approach you and engage in conversation, maybe it is one of those extroverts who is working the room. These are my favorite people to be approached by at the networking event, because I think us introverts and extroverts can work together. My strength as an introvert is getting deep and really getting to know someone, where the extrovert knows everyone. So if I'm looking to meet a particular person or someone from a particular company at this event, when I come across an introvert, I'm going to ask them if they know anyone I should meet, and then they're going to make the introduction. This is a relationship building opportunity for everybody, which is the whole point of these networking events, isn't it? Plus, when they're making the introduction, it feels much more organic and much less awkward than walking around looking at people's name tags trying to find the target person you are trying to meet. Now, there's one more thing I think is really crucial when you're going to a networking event, and this is something that I personally botched all the time in the past. And it guaranteed that no one would talk to me. And any conversations I managed to have ended up being with other people that no one else wanted to talk to. My problem was my vibe. Let me explain. I know that I am not good at small talk. Who wants to chit chat with the socially awkward chick? But one of the things that I came to realize as I practiced networking and as I got good at networking is most people want to talk to the introverted because we love to listen. People love to talk about what they know best, and that is themselves and the things that interest them. And as an introvert, we are happy listeners because it takes the pressure off of us to talk. Not only that, it does allow us to really get to know people in a much more deep way than the superficial small talk that proliferates at an event, which means it's much more likely that we're going to get to know them, have reasons to follow up with them, and build a real relationship that goes past the event. I need to sneak in here with a tip that I think doesn't get discussed enough, especially for us shy introverts, and that is downtime in networking. If you need to step away, if you need a few minutes to yourself, you can simply step out, you can answer some emails, get some quiet, or pretend to be answering emails so you can get some quiet time. Right now, I have a teeny tiny gap between the general networking event and the networking event for speakers, and I decided just to come back to my hotel room, drop off my bag, have a couple of quiet moments before I head back out to network. Don't feel bad about taking time to yourself. Don't feel like you're missing opportunities to network, because I think this is the most essential thing to be able to network in the first place. Because if I'm tired and my social battery is at a 0, I'm not talking to anyone. All right, I just came back from the first day of the conference and I managed to hit my goals. I talked to at least one person before every session that I attended. I actually talked to 7 people at lunch, and I definitely met at least 10 people just now. Post-conference editing Jennifer coming to finish off this video. Apparently I was so tired I didn't realize my camera battery died. I realized the event was so successful for me, not just because I knew the networking strategies I could use as an introvert, but that all of the networking would be absolutely moot if I didn't know how to be likable. Networking success absolutely relies on you being likable. Go and watch this video right now to find out how to make yourself instantly more likable.